Welcome back. You're watching Power Breakfast on cnbc TV 18. Now, the government has initiated work on an integrated gold policy. Sources say this policy is expected to focus on enabling the use of yellow metal as a financial asset. That's not all. The policy also looks at revamping the gold bond scheme and introducing a gold savings account. The cabinet draft note on the policy is believed to be ready, and the policy announcement is expected in January.
Well, the new FDI rules for the e-commerce industry have not gone down well with India's largest companies like Amazon and Flipkart. Now, according to the new guidelines, e-commerce companies can't sell products of related entities. They're also prohibited from mandating any company to sell its products exclusively on its platform only. Now, there are several other new rules aimed at creating what the government calls a level playing field. But large online retailers say the move does not build confidence in the regulatory regime, and they fear that the changes threaten the entire business model and could lead to a pile-up in inventory. However, online retailers like Snapdeal, who do not have any FDI, and the brick-and-mortar retailers have welcomed the government's move. In fact, speaking exclusively to cnbc TV 18, Snapdeal co-founder Kunal Bahl said that the marketplaces need a neutral playing field to thrive, and growth is impossible in an environment where players get crowded out.
Yesterday's enhanced guideline was meant to close out any such potential grey areas that were creating circumvention of the policy. So it's good because I feel that at the end of the day, the purpose of e-commerce marketplaces is to create a platform that can connect the long tail of demand to the long tail of supply in the country and provide MSMEs the ability to reach consumers nationwide, which obviously was not, which was getting hampered because certain, related party sellers were probably crowding out the small sellers.
Would you say then in a pure marketplace model like the one that Snapdeal has now, that there should be no single entity, whether it's related to the marketplace or not? It could be a completely third-party vendor that still cannot sell more than 25% of, how would you classify it, sales or inventory through the marketplace?
So there is no such restriction. The only restriction is that that seller on the marketplace cannot procure more than 25% of its merchandise from any one entity. That's the only restriction. There is no restriction, as per our understanding, on their share of sales on a marketplace. They could be selling 100% of their items on a particular marketplace, but cannot be procuring more than 25% of their items from any one company.
All right, those are the comments coming in from Snapdeal, but Flipkart has also reacted to the government's move. In its statement, the Walmart-owned online retailer said, and I quote, "Government policy changes will have long-term implications for the evolution of the promising sector and the whole ecosystem. It is important that a broad market-driven framework through right consultative process be put in place in order to drive the industry forward." End quote.
We are discharging our debt to the nation. Justice Gogoi's word made headlines at the start of 2018, but resonated at the country's apex court throughout the year. A press conference hosted by 4 senior justices of the Supreme Court, where they spoke out against the then Chief Justice Deepak Mishra, brought the workings of the apex court under the lens of every Indian, and earned Justice Gogoi the tag of a rebel judge. Now, cnbc TV 18's Ashmit Kumar takes a look back at the tumultuous year 2018 has been for Justice Gogoi and the Indian judicial system.
Despite a rich body of work, Justice Gogoi truly hit national headlines in January of 2018 when, in an unprecedented move, he joined 3 other sitting Supreme Court judges to speak out against the then Chief Justice of India, Justice Deepak Mishra. Through cryptic responses, the judges seemed to suggest that then Chief Justice, Justice Mishra, acting under external pressures, was selectively assigning high-profile cases to select judges. This press conference was not the only instance in 2018 when Justice Gogoi took an anti-establishment stance. The next point of clash was the elevation of Justice K.M. Joseph from the Uttarakhand High Court to the Supreme Court. When the government made the elevation difficult, it was seen as payback for Justice K.M. Joseph striking down President's rule in Uttarakhand in 2016. An 8-month-long deadlock ensued, at the end of which Justice Gogoi and other members of the collegium got their way and the government approved Justice Joseph's elevation to the Supreme Court.
But I have a suggestion, a slight modification in today's context. Not only independent judges and noisy journalists, but even independent journalists and sometimes noisy judges.
Justice Gogoi's anti-status quo positions, however, led to speculation that his elevation as the next Chief Justice of India might not go through, even though he enjoyed seniority. There were rumors that instead of nominating the next senior-most judge to the top post, as is the norm, the outgoing Chief Justice, Justice Mishra, might just nominate Justice Sikri. But on the 3rd of October, Justice Gogoi took oath as the 46th Chief Justice of India. He was also the first Chief Justice from the Northeastern region. His next test, however, wasn't far away. The government's decision to buy 36 Rafale fighter aircrafts attracted 4 public interest litigations, and the battleground was Justice Gogoi's courtroom. Justice Gogoi dismissed all the 4 petitions that questioned various procedural aspects of the deal being struck, only to find less than 48 hours later the government itself admitted to factual inaccuracies in its submissions, but blamed it on misinterpretation or ambiguous grammar. Critics have also pointed out various contradictions and inconsistencies in the judgment, and with the portions of the order appearing to have been lifted directly from the government's affidavits, the criticisms have only increased. Given the factual inaccuracies that the government has admitted to, the petitioners have termed the judgment void and planned a move for it to be recalled. Well, all eyes now are on 2019 on Justice Ranjan Gogoi's stance in the high drama in the high-voltage Ram Mandir Ayodhya case scheduled for hearing in January of 2019. Now, keep in mind that the BJP comes fresh off a major setback in the Hindi heartland, and also keep in mind that the 2019 Lok Sabha elections are just around the corner. Some say the stakes in the Ram Mandir battle have never been higher. They also say that this would be a perfect test case for the strongman from Assam, Justice Ranjan Gogoi. In New Delhi, Ashmit Kumar.
Well, that was an engaging roundup of all that took place at the Apex Court in 2018-2019, keenly awaited. What we do is take a short break, get you a check on the cues to watch in the futures and options space, also a roundup of what December series brought.